It's Tuesday, October 2nd, and time for your Barbados Today Evening News Update. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Barbados will bounce back in another 3 years. That's the prediction of Government Economic Advisor Dr. Kevin Greenidge. On Monday, the Executive Board of the International Monetary Fund stamped its approval on Barbados's Economic Recovery and Transformation Plan, which will see the island benefiting from a $290 million program. He revealed that the central bank will receive the first tranche of $100 million tomorrow and remains confident that the island is on the road to recovery.
You can hang my hat, and I don't have it here, but you can hang my hat on this. Within 3 years, Carol, 2 to 3 years, you can't recognize Barbados. One, the economy will be growing. When the economy is growing, because investors are coming here, but the Ross University, Sanders is going to build something, the private sector is going to start to invest, opportunities for growth going to exist across Barbados, where people can be able to move themselves along. The government also, part of the restructuring process, have this enfranchisement program which will help people to own their own business and move forward. Barbados is going to be transformed.
Dr. Greenidge insisted that Barbados should have turned to the IMF at least 10 years ago. He explained that its failure to cut spending during the 2008 financial crisis has resulted in today's problems.
When you have a recession, global recession, the fiscal should have contracted a bit because you had a shock to income. As a normal household, you get a shock. You kind of ease off the extra spools, right?
The luxuries.
But that didn't happen on the fiscal. We keep doing the luxuries as you speak.
Okay. And
so that was an appropriate policy to have. And then we keep widening that inappropriateness of the policy, right? So by the time the debt start, as the indicator, start rising, another thing you mentioned, Carol, the result of all this rising debt, unsustainable fiscal position is that we started around the reserves.
Okay.
So our reserves went from close to maybe $2 billion in 2007 to $400 million, roughly, at the end of 2017. In terms of what you can buy, our reserves were probably 15 weeks of imports, roughly. And at the end of 2017, we had enough to buy 5 weeks of import.
Another government department was hit by environmental issues today. The Town and Country Planning Department at the Garrison St. Michael was forced to close its doors early as workers walked off the job. When our news team visited the department, Acting Chief Town Planning Officer George Brown said workers had made several complaints and officials of the Ministry of Labour have to conduct an official inspection. Assistant General Secretary of the National Union of Public Workers, Wayne Waldron, says there have been repeated problems at Town and Country Planning, including mold and structural leaks. He says workers have complained of respiratory illnesses. Waldron could not confirm whether workers would be back on the job tomorrow, saying they were waiting word from authorities on corrective measures to be taken at the facility. The island's fish markets are in line for major upgrades. Word of this from a Minister of Maritime Affairs and the Blue Economy, Cook Humphrey, as he toured the Millie Eiffel Fish Market along with St. James North MP and Home Affairs Minister Edmund Hinkson this morning with other senior officials. Humphrey says government is on a mission to raise standards in the island's fishing industry and expressed concerns about operations at fishing facilities.
If you look at the facilities that are available for the persons who are in the Fisher Folk Association here, they are way below standard. They're way below standard. In fact, they're way below standard for anybody. It is the understanding that there have been some drawings to upgrade not only the association's quarters, but also the fish market. These drawings were done a number of years ago. It is our understanding that the drawings are now with the ministry and that they may be with Town and Country Planning, but that there have been some progress made in relation to planning. However, the government of the past seem to have had an implementation problem because nothing has been done in relation to making these plans a reality. We took a tour also of the market and you would have seen the conditions there are way below par. If you look at the conditions with which the persons who sell fish actually ply their trade, there are lots of broken tiles, the water pressure is low. That is a haven for bacteria and other problems. You have a problem sometimes with flies. And we've asked not only at this market, but at all the other markets to upgrade the material so that there's an aluminium that we are proposing to be used.
Meanwhile, Barbadians anxious to enjoy the local delicacy sea eggs will have to wait a little longer. Chief Fisheries Officer Stephen Willoughby says they have conducted the annual survey of sea eggs this season and will soon be announcing the results.
And we are now analyzing the results, and we will make a decision soon as to whether or not there would be a sea egg season this year.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news, Nishal Sankat, the Trinidad and Tobago national who has been charged with trying to steal a plane at the Melbourne airport in Florida, is set to return to Port of Spain tomorrow. U.S. media reports say Sankat is taking a plea deal which allows him to leave prison and the country. The Orlando-Melbourne airport was on lockdown almost 2 weeks ago when Sankat boarded an American Airlines plane in an attempt to take off. It's part of a deal made after the FBI and police determined Sankat acted alone and suffered from depression and mental health issues. Sankat's attorney said he was in a very delicate state of mind mentally and appeared to be stressed out. Under the deal, Sankat will lose his pilot license and visa. On the international scene, 4 men linked to a white supremacist group were arrested today in connection with the white nationalist rally that turned deadly in Charlottesville, Virginia last year.
The federal criminal complaint, which was unsealed this morning, charges Benjamin Daly, Michael Macelis.
U.S. Attorney Thomas Cullen says 4 California men he calls serial rioters have been arrested for their alleged involvement in last year's deadly Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia.
While on their way to the Unite the Right rally in Emancipation Park, and with their hands taped and ready to do street battle, committed multiple acts of violence, including punching, kicking, headbutting, and pushing numerous people.
The complaint says that the men had also perpetrated violence at political gatherings in California prior to Charlottesville. The charges come more than a year after the rally and the arrest of James Alex Fields, who's alleged to have driven his car into a crowd of counter-protesters, killing 32-year-old Heather Heyer and injuring dozens of others. Fields has pled not guilty to murder and federal hate crime charges. He faces the death penalty if found guilty.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.pb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good evening.